Hey guys, it's Sam. Happy Thursday. It is Thursday, June 11th, 2009, and it is an overcast, cold June day in Berkeley, which is sad. I thought it was summer, but beanie. And this week we are talking about asking people to use the right name and asking people to use the right pronoun. And you know, I've talked about this a little bit, but when I first started going by Sam, I really let people decide what they wanted to call me, and instead of just putting my foot down and being like, look, I want to go by Sam now, I let them decide what they were comfortable with, and that led to a lot more awkwardness and confusion and general not so good stuff. And for everybody. And I felt weird and they felt weird and it was bad. So eventually when I started really putting my foot down and saying, okay, I know that it's going to be hard to make this switch, but let's try, things went a lot better. And, you know, for people that I've met after I've made this switch, it's been, of course, no problem, because they're always like, whoa, your name hasn't always been Sam? And that's cool. That always feels nice. And really, it surprised me how good people were at sticking to the name Sam overall, and in general, you know, since I really was strict about it. With the exception of my old coworkers, because I used to work at this corporate job and was going by Liz at the time, and haven't seen them on a regular basis in a while. And so when I do rarely see them, it's hard for them to remember because they don't really see me anymore. And when they did see me all the time, I was going by Liz. So they've had some trouble. But in recent times that we've hung out, I've been a little bit stricter about it and tried to not correct, but introduce myself that way and things like that. And they've really gotten the idea. So that's actually going really well. And overall, with my parents, I've been so surprised how well they've been doing. My mom definitely messes up more than most people, but she always corrects herself, with the exception of like twice maybe, when she's just like talking really fast or something, and she doesn't even really notice that she's called me by the wrong name. But overall, they've been so good and so supportive and just really loving, and knowing that I'm the same person, they're just calling me something different. And I've just been overwhelmingly proud of them and surprised with how well they've been doing with it. Like in the beginning, my mom kind of cried. She was really, really sad that she was losing this part of me, and that was really upsetting to her, but she knew that she'd be able to do it. It would just take her a while. And she's done great. She's wonderful. So in terms of pronouns, I'm still really working that one out. I know that she feels wrong. And I know that he feels wrong too, but better. And I really genuinely wish that the neutral ones worked. They just don't for me for now. Maybe our society will be kick-ass in the future and everyone can go by Z and that'll be rad, but for now, it just doesn't feel right, and I don't feel comfortable asking people to use those pronouns. So for now, I'm trying this he thing, but in terms of telling people, that's been hard because I really have to decide on a situational basis who I tell. Like when I first decided to do it, I was talking with a good friend of mine out here, and I brought it up, and she was like, we've been talking about this for months. Want to just try it? And I was like, maybe. And she was like, why don't we try it? You let me know if you want to try it, and we can just see what it feels like. And I got up the nerve. By the end of our conversation, I said, okay, let's try it. And she has actually been the #1 most consistent, great person at using he. She's been amazing at it. Even in front of people who probably don't understand why she's saying it, she still says it and is a really great example. I've told my housemates, but that usually doesn't stick, and I've told my other friends out here, and that usually doesn't stick. And I told one of my old housemates who I don't live with anymore, and he felt really strongly about it. He was like, no, you shouldn't go by he. And I was like, why? I want to try it. And he said, you're an in-betweenie. We've talked about this. You're an in-betweenie. In-betweenies don't go by he. And it's a double-edged sword because he totally gets me. I agree. I'm an in-betweenie. But there's no good working in-betweeny pronouns. And he just really couldn't understand that she feels so wrong, even though he doesn't necessarily feel right either. That was actually really cool of him to so strongly be like, no, you're not a he. We've talked about this. So he means well. We're just not there yet with our language, you know. So probably if he was talking about me, he'd probably still say she. And we'd probably have to have more conversations about it. But he's been doing finals at school and been crazy busy, and I haven't seen him. So that's on hold. Honestly, just most of the time people out here still use she. And I haven't been correcting them. And I don't know why I haven't been correcting them. I guess it just hasn't been a really strong priority for me. What felt like the big step was deciding for myself. Was deciding, you know what? I prefer male pronouns. Just coming to that conclusion personally for myself, no matter what anyone calls me, that was actually the big step. And I guess my next step is asking people to follow through with that. And I really haven't taken that step with most people yet. But I guess I'm going to start making it more of a priority because it doesn't feel disrespectful necessarily, because I know people aren't coming at it from a bad place. They just don't get it. And I think that they don't think it's so important to me because I haven't made it such an issue. So I think it's time for me to take that next step. So that's all I've got. I hope everybody's doing really well and having a wonderful week. And I will see you all next Thursday. Okay, bye.